Welcome back to Great Day. March is International Women's History Month. We're sharing stories of perseverance and even defiance that help women to thrive, especially in a so-called man's world. Our next guest was one of few women who dared to think she could open her own real estate firm. Besides that, the timing could not have been worse in Houston. The oil markets crashed, home foreclosures were at an all-time high, interest rates were insane, and she was brand new at the business. 40 years later, Bernstein Realty continues to be a top producer in Houston. Amy Bernstein joins us to share the lessons she learned and to encourage future female entrepreneurs. Good morning, Amy.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right, let's go back in time. You were a little girl growing up in Meyerland. What were your earliest memories of a neighborhood and how important neighborhoods and homes were?
Gosh, Meyerland was one of the best neighborhoods. I mean, it was one of those neighborhoods where you would walk to school and walk home from school.
There was no carpool. You had to walk.
There was no carpool.
Yeah.
You would walk to school, walk home from school, and then, you know, you'd go home and you'd either go to your friend's house afterwards or do some homework. But there, you know, you were home for dinner. We were, at least, by 6 o'clock, clean up, and then we couldn't wait to get outside and just run and play and ride our bikes and climb trees. And
back when kids still went outside.
Yes, yes. I mean, it wasn't.
Look! Oh, is that you?
Oh, that's me, and that's my oldest brother. That's me stealing candy, which I still do today.
Which, by the way, your three other siblings all in the real estate business. Now, that's not where you all started. Your dad used to work in the tool business, and he would share stories with you of what that job was that kind of set a bar for y'all's work ethic.
My dad was. He came from a family where he worked even as little as a little boy out selling eggs when he was 7 years old in the cold winter of Minnesota. So to him, it was normal for us to, spring break did not really mean a break. It meant that we went to work with him. Or we found a job during spring break and we worked.
We just saw the picture of your dad standing outside of the tool shop with some other folks, and he would tell the stories of how they would just, one tool at a time.
Yes. He started selling nickel and dime screwdrivers and hammers. And I remember when I first started in real estate and I saw all these big, huge houses and these agents selling these big, huge houses. And in the beginning, that wasn't my clientele, and nobody wanted to use a brand new agent selling a big, huge house. And he kept saying, look, Amy, I started with nickel and dime screwdrivers. Just sell one house at a time, give great service, and the rest will follow.
Yeah. But in the beginning, you thought you went off the University of Texas at Austin, you were going to be a tennis player.
Yes, that was my goal. Until I got to UT and realized that there were a whole lot of people a lot better than me, and I better get a real paying job.
And your dad wanted you to get a real paying job.
Yes,
and so you majored in education. You love kids, but not necessarily that job.
So I got into elementary education just because I do love kids. And you realize when you get into it that as much as you love kids, there's a whole lot more to that job. And no matter how passionate you are and no matter how attached you get to those kids, they're going from the third grade to the fourth grade, and then you lose touch with them, and there's no continuing relationship, and it just didn't feel like the long-term career for me, for sure.
All right, so how did you come up with the idea of real estate?
So I started to think, what do I really love? I love houses. I love negotiating. That's always fun. I always loved, and whenever I took vacation, to go on the beaches and negotiate for things that were being sold in flea markets or beaches, and I love the negotiation of that. And my oldest brother, or my second to oldest brother, was in the commercial, is still in the commercial real estate business. And I saw him and his passion for it, and he said, what are you doing? Going to be a school teacher, go get your real estate license. So he encouraged me greatly to go. When I was at UT, I went at night to get my real estate license up at UT.
And you got your real estate license, but at that time, it was still in the mindset that, men can sell better doing the, women can show, men can sell.
Yes. At the time, I think back on, as I was thinking about the show today, I was thinking back 40 years as to how male-dominated the ownership of the real estate companies were in Houston. It was really amazing how it's changed now, and it's so many women now own real estate companies. But in the beginning, I even had a poster in my office, and as I think back at that poster, it was all men at the table doing the deals, and all the women were bringing in contracts or coffee
going,
or
here's the
other
kitchen.
things.
Look at the kitchen, and here's the But it was funny. You had somebody who had to get evicted because they just weren't paying their rent.
Yes.
Who came barging in your office one day, and what did he say?
So we do property management as well at Bernstein Realty, and he was a tenant that was being evicted, and he was mad, and he was storming up the stairs, and he looked like he was ready to hit somebody. And he walked upstairs, and I said, "Sir, are you okay?" And he goes, "I'm here to see Mr. Bernstein." And I said, "Great, there is no Mr. Bernstein here.
My brothers and my daddy aren't here."
I said, "But you can find them over on St. James or any other place." And so he left, actually. He thought he was in the wrong place, which was great. I thought, that's one way to get rid of him, you know?
Right. All right. You opened your own agency, and so still today, that's not as many, but you said there's more and more, but not as many. But at that time, to open your own agency, you had to hustle, because as I mentioned earlier, this was not the great time to do that.
No. You know, I attribute it to these young kids that get on a ski slope and they just fly down the mountain, not having any fear, you know. And I was young. I was really 2 years out of college. I worked for a real estate company for 2 years. And I met somebody that did corporate relocation. And she moved all the employees that were relocating to Houston, and she did the temporary lodging, and she wanted somebody to partner up with that did the permanent lodging. So together we would go and we'd call on corporations to ask if they had a need for, you know, their employees moving to Houston, and we'd pick them up at the airport, put them in temporary lodging, and then show them all around Houston and educate them, and then sell them a house. And so at that time there weren't all the temporary lodging places that there are today. And so I was young, she was about 10 years older than me, and one day she said, "What are we doing? Let's just open our own shop." So we never merged as companies, but we shared a receptionist and shared office space, and I'd have done
Which
anything.
is a great lesson in how to make something work when you can split the bills that way.
Oh
and
my God,
get
it was
launched off
heaven.
the ground.
I wish I had that now, somebody to split the bills.
Yeah, right. Right. But you know, you fast forward to today, and you're 40 years in, and it's crazy. People are complaining about the interest rates right now. They go, "Oh no, the interest rates have gone up. I cannot buy a house." It's like, what were the interest rates back then?
Oh my gosh, my first home, when I first got in the industry, interest rates were, get this, 16 7/8 was my first home.
Wow.
So when people go, "Oh, interest rates are just 6.5 and 7," I go, and I remember when they came down to single digits, and we were all so happy. I mean, single digit interest rates. So.
But you did everything to make it work. You actually taught real estate at the school at night to try and scout for agents to come work for you.
Yes, that's a good point. In the beginning, nobody wants to go to work for a brand new real estate company because there's no name recognition, there's no, you don't know if we're going to make it, all of that. And so the only people that we could recruit would be brand new agents coming into the business. So I would teach school at Spencer School of Real Estate back then, and meet new people that were coming into the industry, and they joined us.
Yeah, all right. And a lot of them are still with you today.
And
so
listen, a lot of times that paycheck to teach that real estate course was also helpful.
I bet. Yeah, because you were nickel and diming, like your dad said. It's going to be nickel and dime for a while. Today, you do so well. I mean, you sell homes to CEOs of major corporations, to all the pro athletes here in town. You do all that, but I know you, and so do several other people. Your customers know you. You will attack a $12 million sale the same way you attack a $250,000 sale.
You know, I am so very passionate about what I do, but I'm also very passionate about the people that hire us to represent them, because there's so many choices in the real estate industry that when someone chooses Bernstein Realty, we're going to be the best for them. That's our goal, is that we want to give them the very best service and do everything possible to make their experience really very meaningful.
Today, there are more female entrepreneurs, supposedly, than male entrepreneurs. What's your best advice to someone who's about to step off the curb?
My best advice is, you know, there is an old expression that if you do what you love, you'll never work another day in your life. So it's to find something that you're passionate about. Find a good mentor. I certainly had wonderful mentors that I'm so grateful for.
Nancy Owens
was one, and for sure I'm grateful to her every day. But find a good mentor, and don't set out to be the CEO
or make a bunch of money.
Just give great service to each and every client that you have the opportunity to work with, and the rest will follow, because The best compliment you get is when somebody sends their friends and family to you.
All right, got a home question right here.
Yes.
Somebody talked to me yesterday about it. They
Yes.
said, listen, we're selling our house. My husband wants to do all the repairs before we put it on the market. She goes, I don't want to. We got a roof problem. Yay or nay?
So for the roof, yay, for sure. Because today it's not just a matter of wanting to sell a new home with a new roof. It's a matter of wanting to make sure the buyer can get insurance on that new roof, on that house.
Yeah, yeah.
An old roof is hard to insure today. So it's hard for the buyer to be able to close if they can't close if they can't get insurance.
She knows this stuff. Amy Bernstein, thank you very much.
Thank you, Deborah Duncan.
All right, to connect with Amy Bernstein and her team, visit greatdayhouston.com.